championing the African Renaissance, and platforms of this nature could be perfect avenues for building bridges between Africans and their brothers in the diaspora.
African peoples all over the world, wherever they may find themselves today, continue to see Africa, and rightly so, as being their land, as being where they belong. As Brother Malcolm used to say, it is a question of land. We should be able to identify the land where we come from and where we belong.
African culture in the 21st century, prospects and challenges, was the fitting subject of discussion at the conference. But the distinguished and eminent speakers for the occasion, it seems, are well au fait with the subject matter, as they took turns to weigh in on the issue in the face of foreign influence. Dr. Rashidi, who has traveled to over 100 countries and delivered presentations in nearly 60 states, painted a global picture of black history, calling for an end to ingrained white supremacy. Blacks, he told the gathering, are the descendants of the first people to populate planet Earth.
We are a global people. Our history begins in Africa, but we should never, ever, ever start our history with slavery. We should not be defined by slavery. And I know that the people who say these things mean it. They have the best of intentions in the world. But I am not a descendant of slaves.
Dr. Julius Garvey, son of the late Marcus Garvey, who currently leads one of the world's vibrant Pan-African movements in the United States of America, gave an insight into Africa's contributions to global civilization. The Pan-African scholar, whose DNA test links him to the Fulani Mandinka ethnic groups, believes that Africans are the first people to create global civilization and everything that civilization means in modern times.
We are 1 billion people strong, in possession of the richest continent on earth. There is no reason why we can't make the 21st century the century of African resurgence and accomplishment. Let us lead the way for a better future for all humanity. Up, you mighty people, you can accomplish what you will.
Distinguished Gambian intellectual Professor Lamin Sarr gave a phenomenal presentation on African cultural development and ongoing process. Professor Sarr revealed that the concept of slavery is not random, but a calculated move by Europeans, knowing full well that only Africans can develop their continent.
So when they came and took our brothers and sisters as slaves, they were not doing so because we were stupid, but they were doing so because we were the only one who could build the type of civilization that they wanted to see. The notion of slavery was not random. It was calculated, it was intelligently organized to the extent that, and it was specialized, to the extent that the development of the Americas was based on agricultural productivity, which explains why most slaves came from the region they used to call the Grain Coast of Africa.
Tina Jones, business owner with a high regard for the African diaspora, spoke on the challenges of Pan-Africanism in relation to entrepreneurship. Madam Jones reveals a staggering $1.3 trillion by 2016 as a contribution of black people to the U.S. economy.
The challenges of Pan-Africanism in the 21st century, and challenges I mean in terms of what we need to be doing as a people, as African people in the diaspora and on the continent, and some things that we're not doing. And a couple of points I'm just going to go through real quickly, but one I want to focus on entirely. Business entrepreneurship and philanthropy. I think we really need to get a grip on that as a people. There's a lot of opportunities out there that goes over our heads. There are many opportunities out there that we never come across, that we never even hear of, hear about, that we're not included.
Their presentation soon opened the floodgates of thoughtful interventions from members of the floor, among them renowned Jamaican reggae artist and poet Sister and Moto Baruka, respectively, as well as some homecomers on how Africans can work together for meaningful cooperation and development. Samuel Bah, GRTS.
Thousands of people, among them guests from different parts of the globe, have descended on Kanilai, the president's home village, for the Jola cultural program called Futampaf, which is the rite of passage from boyhood to manhood. The hugely anticipated and rewarding activity is officiated by the President, His Excellency Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yaya A.J.J. Jammeh. The program is one of the highlights of the International Roots Homecoming Festival. We hope to bring you more on that in our subsequent bulletins. Young men from 10 different youth groups in the country are the target of an awareness-raising interface jointly staged by the Network Against Gender-Based Violence, the Gambia and a Finnish body. The program, held as part of efforts to eliminate violence against women and children, is also focusing on national laws enacted to combat the menace. Khadija Tujalo reports.
Against gender-based violence, the Gambia has been in existence since 2009, and members have since been actively involved in raising awareness of gender-based violence through regular sensitization programs.
Most of the perpetrators of gender-based violence are male, or men and boys, and therefore in order to change that we need to target men and youth to ensure that we change the status quo so that they would become very sensitive. They know the consequences of gender-based violence so that they themselves will take up the responsibility to prevent and to avoid violating women. So this is why we call on this thing, and we want to launch also a new initiative we call He4C campaign.
Jundu Drame of Child Protection said this forum is meant to engage the men and boys on issues regarding the protection of gender rights.
Those cultures, those traditions that tell us that we have to be men, you have to be a man, and to be a man is to be violent. To be a man is not to cry. To be a man is to ensure that you bully some other person so that your manliness would be known. And so if that is what characterizes our society, our homes, our schools, our offices, we need a paradigm shift.
It is time to act, he said, while adding that it is vital to move towards changing environment for women and girls, for them to live in more conducive settings. The CPA official added that this forum would provide the necessary tool in achieving this goal. Gender issues, according to officials, remain critical. However, the prevalence and magnitude of the gender-based violence in the Gambia, according to officials, is yet to be determined. The culture of silence, a youth and sport ministry official said, makes it difficult to access the required data. The Gambia, she added, is a champion in the drive to attaining women's empowerment, as the government, according to Sala, recognizes gender equality and women empowerment as a key factor for the attainment of social and economic development.
The success of collective effort for peace depends on the capacity to ensure their participation in the promotion and maintenance of peace. However, if women are confined to secondary roles, if their practical needs and strategic interests are not taken into account, it is clear that they will not be able to play their full role in the social and economic development of the society and the country as a whole.
The Deputy Permanent Secretary, Office of the Vice President, Bintu Gassama, applauded the group on behalf of the Vice President and Minister of Women's Affairs and the entire gender machinery for the role the organization is playing in encouraging stakeholders in the protection and respect for women and girls and the peaceful coexistence of men and women in our beloved country.
The Office of the Vice President is cognizant of this fact and applauds this laudable initiative, which particularly targets the male youth. Most of, we all know, of the perpetrators of gender-based violence are men. Sensitizing male youth on gender-based violence, its consequences and relevant laws protecting our populace can therefore go a long way in preventing such inhuman acts.
For her part, the Network Against gender-based violence national coordinator Hadi Mboj explains some of their engagements.
We are also fortunate to attend 2 side events that were organized by Main Care from South Africa and other countries. And